what you can do, and what's really good about these is this is something you can kind of pre-rig. It's something you definitely want to pre-rig if you're going to need it. That is challenging to tie with gloves on. Doesn't mean you have to do it again in a day. Just means you want to do it in an area that's easy to maybe stuff your gloves away. You're in a safe spot to do it. But anytime before I'm rappelling, this is totally already done. Like fully done. Okay? I don't do this when I'm staring at an anchor. I do this long before that. Okay? So what we're trying to accomplish is we're trying to accomplish a way that we can clip into the anchor, because if we're rappelling, what are we not attached to, or at least tied into? The rope. So I can't anchor with the rope if I'm rappelling. So I need something else to use. So the nylon absorbs energy. We know that. So here again, the bar tack is the pain in the butt. So I try and orient the bar tack a couple inches away from what I'm going to call the end. Okay.
And that's a double length nylon sling?
48-inch double shoulder length nylon sling. 48 inches, I think.
48 inch.
Yeah. So just take that end that you just isolated. Start at the bottom, just like you're tying in here. Okay. Once you get through both loops, we're going to make what's called a girth hitch. And that is just passing this loop close to you through the other piece of webbing and pulling it tight.
So you don't just go through your blade loop, you go through both?
I want to go through both hard points of my harness. Okay. I'm going to use this for something else. Okay, we in there? Cool. And you can go either way. You can isolate your bar tack so it's down here if you want. But as long as it's within 2 inches of the end, it's most likely going to be okay. All right, so we have that. Cool. Everybody got that point? So take one locking beaner, put it at the very end, okay, and then clip into it. Now, this will work as any type of regular anchor, okay? This is totally suffice. What we're trying to do is find a way to extend our rappel device and anchor in through the same thing. Okay, so clip that beaner into your belay loop this time. And then go somewhere and find kind of the middle, okay? Now, once you find the equalized middle, I want my beaner to have slack in it. So pull slightly so the beaner has slack in it, just so it droops. Okay, you got that? Now, keeping these strands as dressed as possible right here, tie an overhand knot. See how I just keep them kind of all pinched together? Tie an overhand knot. I want the loop to be just kind of, doesn't have to be big. Just get it there. Okay, you got it there? Okay. Now, take your rappel device, clip it in there. Okay. If my rope is not in this rappel device, does it need to be locked? No. Okay, so leave it unlocked. Then what I can do is flip off my harness. Okay? So like I said, this is something we're going to practice it a bunch, but I want to set up before I get somewhere. Okay? Because equalizing that knot in the end and getting this all done is kind of challenging. So you want an area where you can take your gloves off, they're safe. I'm safe when I do it. Then once I get here for a bunch of rappels, I'm probably going to leave it there. So what it does, let's see, for me, I've got some over here. Too high. So what it allows me to do is by leaving the belay device and beaner in here, I can now clip into an anchor. Okay? Like that. I'm going to always leave a beaner in there. If this comes undone, it's not going to be that bad because I'm still into the whole thing. It's just going to pop. But I'm going to leave my beaner in there. And this is an anchoring and will be what's called a repelling extension. Okay? So that's why it works. So that's why this.
And when are you going to use it?
I'll show you. So, say I'm coming up to. So I come from. I know my anchor's over here, right? I'm going to rappel down 50 feet so I can start the ski. Came up backside, got to get down there, very like the apocalypse, right?
Yeah.
So I got to get there. So I have my rope already ready to go. It's either stacked right there, nice and neat. Probably going to do something like. Just as I go over to my anchor. So there's my anchor. Why am I clipping in the anchor? Because it's here. There's a reason it's here, because I'm about to be there. Okay, so clipped in there. My rope is secured. We're going to pretend this is either my carabiner or it could be a couple aluminum wrap rings. If there's one aluminum wrap ring here, what should you do? Carabiner. They're hollow. Aluminum ones are hollow. You'll know if it's stainless steel. That's the ones you see Sport Clown, the stainless steel with a weld in it, and they feel like it. Aluminum will feel like aluminum. Then I'm going to take my rope. Probably going to have to do this twice. I'll have the other tail. Let's show you what I'm going to do.
So that's going down the slope, right?
Right now I'm just stacking it.
Okay.
Because what I want to do is I'm going to have to make sure I can find the middle.
Okay.
A lot of times when I have a short rope, it's because I cut it short and doesn't have a middle mark.
Right.
So what I want to do is like, because right, I can't see where the middle is. One, because I cut this rope, and if the middle's probably wrong, even if I did find it. So if I want to find the middle, I do what?
Put them together. And
start with both ends, okay? So in this scenario, I'm about to throw this thing, right? I'm going to go ahead and do this. This is easy, right? You guys know butterflies. Hey, where'd you go over to my kit? My gear? There should be like a really tiny beaner with a tiny piece of cord on it.
That's this one?
That's it, exactly. This you guys will all want one of these, but we'll talk about that in just a second. Okay, so by starting with both ends, I'm assuming that this is the middle of the rope. Okay, is it going to be exact? No, but it's going to be, as long as I didn't get too much friction on one side, it's going to be really close. Okay, so rope goes down the hill. Now I can get over, hang on the anchor. You guys want to come over to this side, switch real quick. So I have my blade of ice and beaner here. So this is going to end up adding more friction to my rappel device, which in a way I want, because I'm using a really skinny ski mountaineering cord. So I want as much friction as possible. So I just use it just like it's my belay. I don't treat it any different. It's just going to be extended, and you'll see why the extension ends up working really well. So what I do is once I get it in there, pull it up so it's tight, okay? What is the most dangerous thing while I'm rappelling that can happen to me? I let go. Okay. How do I prevent that? Jam or a friction, what we call friction hitches. You could put something to jam, but in reality the best thing to do is put what's called a friction hitch on. Okay? Because the amount of force I need here isn't much, right? Because I'm creating friction by just keeping it bent this way. So what I use and what I would recommend is one of the easiest things. It's called a Penberthy knot. Okay? And a Penberthy knot is a friction hitch. It works quite well in all friction hitch applications. I think it works better as a third hand or rappel backup than anything else. So a Penberthy is just this. 4mm cord with 2 overhand loops on the end with the knots pulled really tight.
Is it 4mm?
4mm, yeah. 3mm is a little bit too skinny, and then 5mm starts to get too fat. But, so I use 4mm. I replace it like once a year because it gets used a lot because you're going to put a lot of heat into it. So I use, needs to be a locking beam. But what do I want since it has to be a locker and I'm only going to use it for that? I want a really tiny one. Because I can still use this in application for locking purposes. So if I had to bail and I wanted to lock it or needed one more locker, I have it. But for this, it's nice that it's small because it's light. And this is one of the things that like sits back with my pocket knife on the back side of my harness, and I really only use for friction hitches. So Penberthy works where I just clip that one loop into the end, and I'm creating, now this is where it gets tricky, depending on the diameter of ropes and how wet they are and what's going on with the ropes depends on how many wraps I need. Is it going to be different a lot of the time? Yeah. If you're using the same ropes for climbing, you'll kind of figure out I need 3, okay? But I need enough wraps for it to work. So I'm going to do 4 wraps. Just going to clip back in here. Going to lock it. Going to squeeze check it. And then to make sure it works, I pull up on it like that as hard as I can. Does it look weird? That's pretty strange. Is it working just like it's supposed to? Yeah, because it's a friction hitch knot because I'm pulling on both sides. If I'd done 1 wrap less, what would happen? You think it would slip? Probably. The crux is, well, why don't I just do a bunch to be a lot safer?
Pain.
It's a pain because then I get too much friction. So finding that balancing point can be kind of hard. And it's a bummer once you've already started because you want to fix it, but sometimes you can't. Okay, so I have my Penberthy knot. So what I want to do is I want to choke it up. I want to get it really high up here because I'm thinking I'm about to unclip from this up there. Okay? So I have I'm through here, check that, there's my friction hitch backup. So if I get hit by something, it's going to stop. Okay? And what I find even more so in ski mountaineering is I feel like I'm going to lose my balance rappelling way more. I'm in ski boots, AT boots, or I'm rappelling with my skis on. And if it's the winter and I'm going over rock that has snow near it, what's my biggest hazard? Ice. Okay? So that's why I think skiing, it's even more important. So by extending it, that increases my friction point even more, so I have more control. And then if you're using a friction hitch backup, which I suggest you do off your belay loop, when it gets too close, it can still push it up and like slowly release it, which I'll show you in a second. So I'm here, right? I'm anchored into there. Okay, the next thing I want to do is I want to get choked way up. I want to choke my Penberthy up so that I'm only hanging on that. Why? So this is unweighted. Really important thing is you buy beaners for the rest of your life. This is called a key lock design. Okay? Some beaners have that little hook in there. You want the key lock because it doesn't get caught. Nothing's worse than when this little piece of hook right here, if I have a bunch of, what if we're all stacked in here and we have like 4 beaners in here, and I'm trying to get it out and it gets stuck. It sucks. So get the key lock, okay?